Welcome to another edition of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker on November 10th, 2021, which is today for us and whoever listens to us. This will not be November 10th. It'll be whatever day you happen to listen to the show. Our guest, unfortunately, canceled very last minute due to flooding, and I'm very experienced with flooding, having spent last week in Florida on the Atlantic coast, where for 2 days, St. Augustine basically wound up underwater. So that was fun. Anyway, our client for today, though, will be, what is it? What's the client again for today, Greg?
The Tyranny of Beauty.
The Tyranny of Beauty.
Behold, trapped in a hellscape of their own invention, socially unaware old white men bound by the pretense of being fake lawyers yet knowing no law, no exquisite Latin terminology, they are inexplicably compelled to quibble over minutia, squabble over triflings, and bicker like those who value their backyards far too highly without even knowing the difference between an easement and an alleyway. At this very moment, you have entered the heart of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Let's get started.
So I do want to thank Brendan for letting us do the show from his house last week, and I want to thank our lovely wives for putting up with us for an extra hour as they went, why the hell are we doing this show? So I don't know.
They loved it.
Did you get any feedback from your wife, Brendan, after last week's show?
Don't ever do that to me again.
She said it as a question.
Yeah.
I want a divorce.
Don't ever do that to me again.
No, that didn't come up.
Okay, yeah, my wife basically ignored it afterwards, and I think she'll just deny ever being a part of it from now on. All right, Greg. Well, you wanted to take the lead on the deposition of our newest client, Tyranny is Beauty, or Beauty is Tyranny, or whatever the hell we're calling it.
The Tyranny of Beauty.
The Tyranny of Beauty.
But I think we should not pay our bills first.
Oh, right. We have a sponsor, and Brendan worked very, very diligently for the last month trying to track the sponsor down to not pay our bills. So we should let Brendan absolutely do the sponsor. I get lost sometimes.
That's okay. So hi. You know me as one of the unpaid bullshitters here on the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Well, I felt it necessary to speak about a product that I personally use and highly recommend. That product is avoidant. Avoidant is a world-class alarm and home security system made by people who get it for people who don't want it. What don't they want? Assholes in their home. You know, people that want to talk endlessly about politics, the latest business opportunity they are involved in, or just want to bitch about their job, their partner, their kids, you name it. But what do? Avoidant's patented AI and machine learning system reads key signs about people approaching your home, so you might know them on the asshole scale. So like one of those sleep mattress beds, you could dial up the asshole avoidant gauge depending on your tolerance for bullshit. There's even individual settings for you and your partner. My wife's tolerance for bullshit is much higher, so she might set it at 4, or I generally have to set it at 9 out of 10. The alarm goes off and you can pretend not to hear the doorbell. So don't just protect your physical space, protect your ear holes and your head space from needless assholery on behalf of your potential visitors. Get Avoidant today. Florida residents get 75% off installation because, oh my God, it's Florida. Call Avoidant today. Operators are standing by.
Well, that was outstanding.
So are you saying I couldn't get into your house?
Probably.
I'm just thinking that he created this based upon my recent visit.
9 would filter me out. Maybe 4 I could pass, but
yeah,
9.
Holly let you in.
Yeah,
she's friendly. She's definitely friendly.
She's an easy mark.
All right, Greg, the Tyranny of Beauty.
Well, this is a struggle that has gone on in mankind's history. Just as like at first it was the strong versus the weak, and then the weak would team up and topple the strong man who was bullying everyone. Then it became the rich versus the poor, Karl Marx talked about. But you know, the poor, well, actually the poor never won any battles, really. Not
what
many.
The hell are you talking about?
Well,
the poor is still pretty screwed as last time I checked.
Well, they tried.
What
to.
does
They,
this have to do with
they
beauty?
started unions and stuff and started, getting some rights. But yeah, they're still pretty screwed. But the real struggle.
How drunk are you right now?
I'm not drunk at all, Matt. If you just listen.
Okay, fine. I'm listening.
You need to have a drink and mellow out. Chill. So the real struggle, though, in mankind's history is the beautiful versus the ugly. That's the real struggle. Because what's at stake there? The other things, I guess survival is pretty important. Being comfortable, having a living. But love is at stake here when it comes to the struggle between the beautiful and the ugly. And that is where ugly people are shit out of luck. For the most part. Every now and then they get lucky. But that's why it's an important struggle. People don't talk about that much. Well, everyone wants love, except for me. And
for you.
But it's a universal thing. And when you're ugly, it's way fucking harder to find love. And when you're beautiful, all you gotta do is walk out of the house and people will be like, I love you. Oh, I want to marry you. I don't care what you're like.
Is that really love?
I think it is.
So why is there tyranny? Explain the tyranny part of this.
Because these beautiful people get to lord it over us all with their power.
With like vagina power or something?
Oh, dick power. Yeah. I've known some handsome guys who fucking just pussy came their way like rain from the skies.
So were you lorded over by these handsome men?
I felt that way. I don't want to sound like an incel or anything, but I was a little bitter.
Well, then you do sound like one, actually.
No, but I wouldn't.
We need to go back to last week's sponsor.
I wouldn't hate women over it and be all bitter. But I was chuffed that I wasn't one of those beautiful people, and I hated the fact that I had to try so hard to make.
So you
girls like
resented not being a beautiful person.
Yeah, I did.
As opposed to.
I mean, but I don't know that I've ever considered. I mean, I don't consider myself beautiful, but I mean, I got enough love in my life.
Well, you lucky you.
So maybe it's luck, not necessarily.
I think you're chuffing him, Brendan.
Have I been chuffing him? I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could chuff anybody on Zoom. He'd have to come to my house.
And chafing, chuffing and chafing.
You have a special chuff visit with Brendan if you go to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I just think that it's a bad world for the ugly.
Well,
Really
I think
sucks.
it really depends. I mean, this client initially came out of the concept of what is attractive to somebody or attractive to other people.
Yeah.
And we had an alternative client that could have been part of this, which is symmetry is overrated. And, beauty comes down to, in many cases, the symmetricalness of somebody's features is what people consider to be attractive in many ways. So it's kind of like math is behind everything. Math is behind the beauty of people, Greg. And it could be that your biggest upset really should be with Pythagoras more than anyone else.
Oh, believe me, I want to have words with that guy.
The golden ratio.
It's true because my double chin makes an upside down bell curve. So it is kind of mathematics. It's kind of a parabola.
Is it a parabola or is it a bell curve?
I don't know the difference, to be honest. I forgot.
They're actually the same, Greg.
We were talking the other day about, me and my friend were talking about if you had to take the SATs now, how bad we'd all do. It's like, I've forgotten all that shit.
Yeah, but didn't they raise the amount of points you get off the bat now with the SATs from before?
Yeah,
so
the SAT is actually easier now. I mean, not to say that I would remember, 10th grade geometry necessarily, but it's not as hard as it used to be. And yeah, the scores are all different because I remember, I forget what I got. I got some pretty good score on the, not the math part, but the other part, the language arts or whatever it was. And my son told me, he's like, oh, I got a blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't think that's possible. That score sounds
too high.
Didn't it cap out at 1,800 when we were kids or something?
1,600, wasn't it?
Was it 16?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah,
Maybe
so I
it
think
was
they
16.
raised they raised the amount that you could get on it.
So your son got like 4 million on it?
He got like an 1,800 or something. And I'm like, You can't get that big. No, you got it wrong. It's like, no, Dad, you're dumb. And I'm like, okay.
No, the SAT now is all about just the participation award is what you get for
Yeah.
for finishing the SAT.
Thanks for showing up.
Thanks for
Everyone's
showing
a
up.
winner.
You get to go to college because you were able to match your socks. I remember that from last week's episode. So, do you remember that, Greg?
Yes.
Your socks get to go to college.
Your
My wife's
wife was
thing.
really dumb when she was little. I'm kidding, Lavana.
And she's not going to watch this episode, but I'll
I
let her
know.
know that you called her dumb. She's
Yeah.
probably overheard that right now. Yes, Greg called you dumb, Lavana, for your sock exploits. Anyway, so what's a person? What makes a person attractive to you, Greg? What is it about
Are
somebody's
we talking about the
face?
physical?
Yeah,
yeah,
well, of course. The
I
physical.
don't
No,
know.
no,
You
they're,
could be
I'm
attracted to
talking their
someone's
elbow.
personality.
Like, what about an elbow?
Well, that would still be physical.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's not. I think not like what he's talking about.
No, we're talking about
Traditional.
their breath, Greg. It's like, what do you see comes out of their mouth? The
No,
in
no,
the
what I was
air
trying
that
to
they
say
breathe.
is looks, you could be attracted to someone just by their personality. But it takes time to learn their personality.
Yeah.
Beautiful people, it's just kind of like at first you're just kind of like, God, I kind of want to know this person. And I don't know what makes, like you said, symmetry, nobody thinks that. It's just you've been told that by like scientists. I'm sure when you were a kid, you said, that girl's so pretty. Look how symmetrical her face is. You didn't know that. But it turns out we respond to that. I don't know. It's weird. Like, why is someone so beautiful to some person and someone's like, somebody else would be like, they're ugly.
Okay, so Greg, think of what's an actress. An actress, you go, oh, she's really beautiful.
I think most of them are. Like, basically, you can't be a popular actress.
I think
unless
he
you're
just wants you to
pretty
give a
fucking
freaking
pretty.
example, Greg.
We're
Okay,
making this
anyone,
really
pick one.
difficult.
Name Julia Roberts is totally pretty. You know, I'm not attracted to her.
Really?
But she's very pretty.
She looks like a horse to me. She's a funny looking girl.
But a
She's not-
symmetrical horse.
No, she's not even that symmetrical if you really
Like
think about it.
every
She's
actress.
got kind of a weird chin, like symmetry. Like Angelina Jolie is very symmetrical.
Yeah.
But I don't find she looks plastic to me. She looks like some android that got created.
Well, she got weird. She started looking weird in her like 30s.
Yeah, I mean, she's certainly more that way now than she was when she was younger.
Yeah.
But even when she was young, she looked like someone made her in a laboratory. So there's a certain level of beauty that I go, it's almost like too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen that. I felt that where it's just like, it's just weird.
You know, like
Well, let's
Julia
just get
Roberts-
straight into it, though, Greg. So, who is somebody you in particular find physically attractive?
Okay, if you were saying actresses, it would be easier to say who is it. So it's like, okay, there's 5 actresses.
No, I'm
basically.
asking you. Give me one person who's famous
Oh,
that
I'll
you
do
find
it. I'll do
physically
it.
attractive.
But we can just
There's
move on.
1,000.
I'll
Okay,
pick one.
Salma. Every actress I've ever seen in the movie, Salma Hayek's beautiful.
Okay, that's fine.
Cap-
That's all we want is one, Greg.
Selma. Okay.
Okay, does
Salma
that
Hayek.
help?
Well, we're
Is it-
going to narrow this down now. So you look at Salma Hayek and you go, she's attractive. Now, why is she attractive to you, Greg?
I don't know. She's beautiful.
Is it because there's something hanging out her nose?
That wouldn't be attractive.
Okay, well, that narrowed that down a little tiny bit. So what else is it about her?
How can you describe beauty? It's like describing a sunset. It's like describing the glories of
You can
nature.
describe a sunset. You can go, it's orange, it gets red, it has a way
Okay,
in
so
which it
Salma
melds into
Hayek-
Is
something
it-
else.
Let's maybe we can help Greg. Is it her skin color? Because she is obviously a Hispanic.
That does not
So
hurt.
So she's
love
got a
that skin.
darker complexion than, say, Kate Winslet, who I think is very attractive, but she's very,
Me
very
too.
light.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't really matter. There's just certain people, because, technically beauty is supposed to be subjective. People say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's not really true. There's certain people that the majority of people find attractive. Like Salma Hayek, if she went on a blind date, it's a pretty low chance that some guy's going to be like, oh, fuck, I got a dog on this one. I really got screwed by my friend. Most guys would be at least just like, well, she's pretty cute. A lot of guys would be thrilled. But like if it was Bella Abzug or
That's really going to extreme.
Bea Arthur, let's be honest, not
hey,
many guys would be
let's-
thrilled
let's-
if Bea
let's-
Arthur
Let's
came to their door.
not knock Bea Arthur.
I like Bea Arthur.
I
don't
think
wanna
she's
fuck
down
her.
to clown. You know what I'm saying?
Down to clown?
Yeah.
I don't
I-
actually know what you're saying. What do you mean by down to clown?
I have to speak it somewhat in riddles, given the people that are listening to my conversation.
You're like Rumplestiltskin. Riddle me
You,
this.
you can't mention clowns around Girl Scouts. You'll frighten them all.
No. Selma Hayek. Yeah, Bea Arthur. Anyway,
Selma Hayek,
Yeah,
Bea Arthur,
basically
they're
what
kind
I'm
of the
saying
same.
is pretty much I've known beautiful people in my life, like we all have. And the majority of people I know also find them attractive. It's not just like, oh, it's willy-nilly.
But how can you
Anyone
say
be
Bea Arthur
attractive.
is not attractive? Why is she not attractive to you?
Because I've never known anyone who's thought she was attractive.
She
And
married somebody. She had children with somebody.
yes,
somebody-
exactly. There's
So
some
what makes
there's
you
someone
say that
for
she's not attractive,
everyone.
though? What makes you say
It-
she's not attractive?
she's less attractive to the populace than certain people. Like
Yeah, but you
Salma
brought her
Hayek.
up for a reason as an example. So
She's
what's
one of the-
your reason for saying
she's
she's
one
not
of the-
attractive?
she's one of the few famous actresses that's not beautiful, who's allowed to just be funny and like sassy old lady. They usually don't get roles. Almost
Yeah, but
every,
why do you say she's not attractive? What is it about her that makes her not attractive, Greg?
Well, maybe when she was younger. I've never seen her when she was young. Maybe she was hot as fuck when she was 25.
I just found a young picture of a young Bea Arthur. She's pretty attractive. She's also it's a mugshot. I don't know what the story is,
What?
but it's young Bea Arthur, and she's standing in front of the Porky Pig says you're this tall thing.
Porky
I don't know
Pig.
what the story is. I wanted to make sure it was actually the actress and not some other.
Some other Bea Arthur. who's
Oh
by a
no, she was in the
Porky Pig.
Marine Corps. No, this isn't a mugshot. She was in the Marine Corps.
Oh, okay.
And the Marine Corps has a Porky Pig sign when you
Well,
join.
no,
You
it's
need
got
to
the-
talk to Porky Pig before you join the Marines. If you have
it's
like a
got-
full conversation, they don't let you in. They're
It's
like,
got the measurements behind
Yeah.
it. But anyway,
that's how they
um,
see if you're tall enough to join the Marines, is they have Porky
So
Pig
wait,
sign in there.
back then women couldn't join the Marine Corps. Or was she like a secretary or something? Or
yeah, I
attaché.
mean, my mom was in the Navy. I mean, they just weren't
but they
out on
couldn't do
ships.
combat.
No, of course
Yeah.
not.
Okay.
Was your mother
I
a
was-
wave?
A whack.
Oh no, she would have been a wave in the Navy. They're whacks in the
Yeah,
army.
she was away. That's where she
Oh.
met my dad. But she also was a some sort of, I don't know, sharpshooter person. So she was a wave, but she also had
Skills.
people would come to my house. There'd be all these trophies of like guns and targets and stuff. They're like, wow, your dad is some kind of badass. I'm like, no, those are my mom's.
That's so sad that the military was like, oh, women can't do combat. And your mom's like, I'm a fucking sharpshooter here. I can
Yeah.
outshoot anyone you guys got. And like,
So
no, you
Greg,
just
the
take-
last person
location.
you dated, did you find them attractive physically?
You know what's strange is I've never been so attracted to a woman. It was pure chemistry. But I could logically look at her and be like, nah. If I didn't know her, didn't know I had this chemistry with her, I'd just be like, not that pretty.
Yeah.
But she was once we started dating, I've never been so attracted to a woman in my life.
So obviously there's some sort of spectrum or scale or something. There's a certain point where boy or girl, they fall off the cliff, so to speak.
What?
They
Huh?
fall off, they're just they're inherently unattractive. Like
Oh,
somebody who was
yeah,
Like the Elephant
obese-
Man.
Well, okay, so there's like that's the far end of it. Like they're just absolutely a freak show. But there are certain things like at a certain point, someone is morbidly obese and they're no longer attractive because they're just too fat. And alternatively, somebody who's, in my opinion, is too skinny. I think there's a point like meth head, skinny person where it's like they don't look healthy. Then
Yeah.
so there's different things. So what other features are there really? I mean, I don't know. I don't find a lot of unattractive people. I mean, I think some people are more attractive than others, but I think everybody's got a certain something. There was this sunken-eyed meth girl at the convenience store, but she had kind of a pretty smile. Looked like if she put some meat on her, she'd be okay.
The teeth that weren't rotted out of her
Yeah.
skull, you mean?
No, not yet. She was
Oliver
young. She was young still, but it was obviously starting to ravage on her a little bit. But she wasn't hot. She wasn't beautiful, but she wasn't. She was sort of sad. There was a certain sad quality to her that made me want to like get her off the streets and give her some soup or something. I don't know.
Pat, what kind of soup?
Is that a euphemism?
I think so.
Hey,
Yeah,
down to
maybe.
clown with some soup.
Yeah,
I'd like to give you some soup.
Got some clown soup for you here.
a chicken noodle. Anyway,
I'm kind of a sucker for that. Like I've been attracted to girls because they're sad, and like it makes me love them more. I've dated girls, and I'm like, oh wow, they've got these like hidden levels of sadness, and then it makes me just like want to love them more.
Like pity dating.
Nah, it's like I really do love them, and it really does intensify the love. I guess I'm a caring nurturer. That's what I am at.
Is that what you are? A caring nurturer?
Yes, I'm a caring nurturer.
And that's why you're asexual.
Well, maybe that led to that. I don't know.
You have no one now to care or nurture.
Yeah.
What about people that are attracted to like strange things? Like, isn't there a show where like, it's like men who are attracted to women that are over 600 pounds or something?
Yeah, I had
There's a
porn
show like
magazine
that
in the 90s.
I don't know. I don't watch
When I
TV.
You had a what magazine in the 90s, Greg?
When I worked at the newsstand in Chicago, we had full access to every kind of porn, and there was one called Buff.
It always comes back to porn for Greg.
Life in the Fat Lane. And these women they didn't even look human anymore naked. They were look like alien creatures, like Jabba the Hutt. Like they were 800 pounds. And like their thighs were just meld into their waist. Like they just looked insane, but the magazine sold. And I guess there's some guy for everyone. And
did you ever take notes of what the people who bought those looked like? Who bought those magazines?
I don't remember, to be honest. And I kind of have a feeling I bought it, took it home. I got them for free. One. Well, no, I got magazines for free, but I would, it was just like, I had to show everyone. It was like, sorry to say, it was like a freak show. It was like, look at this fucking shit.
So basically you were like the trendsetter for fat shaming is what you're saying. So you took this magazine home to make fun of all of these really large women. I have to fill time because Greg is frozen right now. His face is frozen into this weird kissing look, and his eyes are closed. It's like he's actually smooching us.
Yeah, and I can't hear you guys.
All right, he's come back to normal now.
Right.
A little bit. Oh, now he's frozen again. This is always exciting.
Can you guys hear me?
Because Greg refuses to get Wi-Fi at home and make it better. But
I can hear you.
Then there's people that are into feet.
Yes. So many fetishes out there. I've never understood the fetish.
But I'm just saying not from like kink necessarily, although it's part of that, but just things that people find attractive or like go or no go. Like the girl looks really great, but she's got just hammer time with her feet. And you're like, no.
Well, it's like one of those old sayings that she had a well-turned ankle, as a thing that made somebody attracted to a woman, was that she had a well-turned ankle back. And I think a large part of that comes from like how much clothing was covering the body that made like a body part attractive, back in the day.
Yeah, back in the 80s, me and my friends used to say that. Look at that girl's well-turned ankle.
Did you, the 1880s?
And then it would say 23 skidoo.
I don't remember the ankle thing. I remember cankles as a thing. Where people
not as an attractive thing. That'd be an unattractive thing.
Yeah,
that's an unattractive thing.
It's when your calves turn into your ankles. That's what the.
But there's probably guys out there who think that's really hot. There's a little handful of people.
Yeah, there's always those fetishes. There's people who have those specific things that they're attracted to.
Yeah.
It's like some people prefer breasts over behinds, and some people like behinds over breasts for whatever reason. I've never had a thing for the behind because of what comes out of it. So it's always kind of taking my eyes away from that.
I kind of like the behind. I don't know that I like it better or more, but
yeah.
Like, here's the thing. Remember when we were younger, if a girl had a really large behind, it wasn't like some sort of like thing.
Right.
I mean, beyond Sir Mix-a-Lot's song, it was just not a thing.
Until that song, it all changed. Yes.
Now it seems like, kids these days, these giant, almost obscene behinds are like, oh wow. And I'm like, no.
I know, and women are getting butt implants too.
Yeah, what
I'm
the
like,
hell?
I don't understand that at all.
They go to Brazil for them, the Brazilian butt implant. It's been a
I don't
thing
think
since
they
the
have to go to
80s.
Brazil for them, Greg. They can do them
But
here in the
that's where they
United
started.
States.
Women used to go to Brazil in the 80s and 90s to get them because Brazil appreciates the butt. It's their national bird. The ass.
I don't know that that's, I know a Brazilian. I'm going to ask if that's the official
That's
bird.
the official bird.
They like butts though, and they cannot lie.
Did
down in
they
Brazil.
grow wings and fly or something?
They can flap the cheeks. They're landlocked birds like penguins.
If you flap them enough together, they can actually have liftoff.
But I was always a butt guy, and I was so. This is how stupid I was when I was a kid. Like I was such a weirdo with women and dating, and that's why I was a virgin until I was 22. And I remember like some girls every now and then would kind of hit on me. I could tell I was like, this girl actually seems to like me, and that never happened often. But there'd be like the skinny little cute girl, and I'd be like, what can I do with her? She has no ass. Fuck it. Like that's how.
So they're attracted to you, but you're not attracted to them, so you like push them away.
But for the stupidest fucking reason, that's what a shallow idiot. I just thought I want a girl with an R crumb ass, like a big round poochy ass. And if I can't get one, then I wouldn't even know what to do with the skinny girl.
You know, after my divorce with my first wife, and I went into the dating pool like legit. I was trying to be like more of a Renaissance man who's willing to like date anyone, regardless of whether I considered them attractive per se. I wanted to give them the opportunity to, I guess, cause me to become attracted to them based upon
To win you
personality
over.
and that type of right. And eventually, what I found out was you can't really deny what you're attracted to. In other words, it's like I would get to know somebody, I would like them as a person, but I could never really get myself to be into them just strictly based upon personality, because there would be some physical attribute that I didn't necessarily like that much or something like that. Like there was one woman
Like an
I dated,
example.
like her shoulders were too wide for me, and I'm like, this is just kind of creeping me out a little bit, you know. So it's like I couldn't do that. But what were you saying, Brendan? You went mute.
The girls are really kind of kicking up the noise down there. So
Oh,
I was going to ask you, like, what's an example? I mean, you know, I haven't been on the dating game in 30 years, so
all right.
I have a bit of a perverse perspective. I have to go back to the 80s and 90s to think about those sorts of things.
I used to find various different ways to let people know I wouldn't date them anymore. Generally, I would use the personality excuse as the reason why, because I didn't really want to hurt their feelings because I didn't find them attractive. So I would just say something to the extent of, there are aspects of my personality that will never get along with aspects of your personality. I think it's best for everybody involved to just end this thing right now.
Right, but was it like big noses, messed up teeth? Was, you know, too fat, too skinny?
It would be like
No.
some kind of quirk, you know. I never really like had an issue. I didn't really date anybody who was too big, just because I think they weren't attracted to me because I was too big. But I think it was more just some weird thing. Like one woman looked a little too old, and so in my mind, I was like, this looks like I would be dating my mother at that age because of this woman's age, and like that didn't work in my head either. So it was like weird.
She reminded you of your mom?
Yeah, I'm like, no, that can't happen. I'm like, that's got to be, yeah, or something along those lines. But I think some of these things are like societally based, where the concept is put in your head that you can't be attracted to them for a particular reason, and I think that's what happened with me with a few of those. Is like I should have been able to overcome it, but I wasn't able to overcome it. And finally, I just came down to, all right, well, this is kind of what I like in a woman in terms of what I'm attracted to, so I can be okay with that, and I don't have to just feel like I need to be a better person by just dating someone because I think I should be attracted to them as opposed to actually being attracted. I don't know. It's kind of a weird
Yeah,
concept.
I had a girl in high school that was attracted to me, and we went out a couple of times. And the thing about she was an attractive girl, but she was also an attractive boy. So she was a very androgynous girl, and she was attractive. There was nothing wrong. But I couldn't get it out of my head that sometimes out of the corner of my eye, it looked like I was dating a 12-year-old boy.
Well, it was like the woman I dated briefly who had like the wide shoulders. I'm like, oh, this is kind of like a mannish feature. And
Mhm.
I just didn't, I was not attracted to mannish features, and that kind of gets me sometimes too, as I start looking at people's faces and I go, how much of her father is in her face and how much of her mother is in her face? And if I go, it's a little too much to her father, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm like, I don't want to.
Do you actually ask for pictures of the mother and father so you can?
No, it's just that
Oh, I see.
sometimes, like, if you look at somebody's face, there's some things which are a little more severe looking that seem more manly than not, you know.
No, I
And I'm
get
sorry
that.
we couldn't have our guest for today, because I think he could have added some dimension to this, because our guest was a trans advocate activist, and probably could
It is.
help us discuss those
Still
issues.
is.
Yeah, but anyway,
Well, no, it's not our guest for today. A guest is they're coming back in 2 months.
next year. But
Yeah.
anyway, the girl and I ended up becoming very good friends, but it never worked out. But I liked her a lot.
Yeah, so it's like, you can, and then, it's after dating someone for a while, they become less attractive, or they become more attractive based upon, how you get to know them, or because of things that they do that suddenly become cute or interesting,
Yeah, that she grew up to be an extremely attractive woman who did not look like a 12-year-old boy once she was like fully grown. Like I remember seeing pictures of her, I'm like, oh wow. And she's like, yeah, I changed a lot. I grew my hair out, and I stopped being a punk rocker, and I'm now a school teacher, whatever it was. And I was like, wow, she doesn't even look like the same person.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that was
She
a long time ago.
transitioned. She transitioned.
I suppose she grew up. I think some guys, at a certain point, at a certain age, everybody kind of looks similar.
yeah, we all look alike.
Yeah, and then it starts changing, and it changes at different rates for different people.
Well, it is interesting as we get older that, at least for me, that I'm attracted now to older women. Whereas if I had been younger, I would not be attracted to women of that age at all. It's like as you grow with those people, they somehow get better looking. Like I never would have been attracted to women with gray or white hair, but now I find that I actually am attracted to some women like that.
I always like that, like the Munsters mother, the mother in the Munsters, the Bride of Frankenstein shit. But I mean, I think you're lucky, because there's some guys who that never happens, and they're still attracted to 21-year-olds even when they're 50.
Yeah, I've always
That's all they
dated
want.
people that are been around my age for the most part. I've never gone really young. I've never gone really older than me. And I think it's just kind of worked out in general that way. But I think it's because I've just never really been
young
attracted.
ones.
It's like I look at young women these days and I'm like, they just seem like they're kids, and it's really hard to kind of get over that concept as well. Like, why would you date a kid?
I could definitely, if I was a dating kind.
Well, yeah, you did, because you did date a woman who was like 20 years younger.
I know, but that was more of like a meeting of the minds type relationship.
Yeah, it was probably a meeting of the pelvises, is what it was.
But I'm sorry, I don't know how to say this. I think I'm just being honest, but there's plenty of 23-year-olds I worked with that, like, I didn't see them as kids back when I used to care about these things. I didn't try anything because I knew it would just be gross, but I was like, fuck, it was fucking hot. I could, if I was in the game, I could date a 23-year-old as long as she was, smart enough.
Smart enough for you and your
some 23-year-olds,
your heights of genius.
No, I mean, just, a lot of 23-year-olds are so like, they're kids, but some of them are like Emily was 21 years younger than me. Matt knows my friend Emily, my ex-girlfriend. And she was like closer to my personality than any girl I ever dated my age. Like we had so many things in common.
And you let her go.
There was never a generation gap. There was never like, oh, she doesn't even know about this. This fucking 26-year-old doesn't know shit. She was brilliant.
Was she into your comic book collection?
She loved comic books too, on top of that.
So that certainly made her more attractive to you.
And almost every band I liked, she liked. She loved Elvis Costello. She loved Guided by Voices. She loved all this random shit that I
So why are you not with her?
She moved to the
moved.
East Coast.
and I couldn't afford to move.
He couldn't afford mentally to move. He could have actually found a way to afford it, but
Yeah,
hard is it
what?
to
Like
move?
borrow money from my sister and be in
Sure.
debt.
yeah, they would have done it. You know, they would have done it.
I could. Well, to be honest, I
Emily
think
could
our-
have paid for it too if she really wanted
we
you to
didn't
come.
have a deep chemistry. I
Uh-huh.
love her to this day, almost more than anyone I've ever known. But also, like, you know, as boyfriend girlfriend, it wasn't the best as
You
far as
say
that.
it wasn't deep. What do you mean by deep?
Did I say deep?
Yes. You said it wasn't a deep chemistry.
Okay,
We're
well,
talking
it wasn't a
physical?
strong chemistry. It was the sex wasn't that good. I think for either of us. I don't
Emily,
think
are
she
you
was
watching
too good.
this? He's coming clean now.
I know. God damn it. I'm pretty sure she'll never hear this, but if she does, sorry, Emily, it's the truth. I'm sorry,
You just
I
weren't that
love
great
you,
in the
though.
sack, Emily.
but you were my. No, it wasn't her. It was just the chemistry.
Oh, it's the chemistry. That's it. The chemistry.
No, you can't blame someone else. It's just some people just don't have chemistry together. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's not that thrilling.
And yet you loved her more than everyone else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for who she is, her personality, and her brilliant mind.
Uh-huh.
I fucking love her brain, man.
Brain. Did you fondle
I
her
love her
brain
brain.
often?
I would have if it was healthy, if it wouldn't have endangered her life.
It was
Welcome
healthy.
to another episode of Greg's Tormented Love.
That's actually a good segue into the cooking episode, the cooking segment
It's
of the
brains.
show.
It's gonna be a brain recipe.
Is he cooking brains? I've cooked brains. It's not hard.
Well, no, I don't think it's a brain recipe this week. It's something, but here we'll just
Who's this guy again?
Waspy Soda Pop.
No, this guy on your screen.
Oh, this is the bad karaoke singer.
Oh, is
Who
this?
doesn't
Am
get
I?
it.
Am I like sharing the wrong part of the screen?
Yeah.
It's just
Well,
it's just supposed to be the sound, the audio, for crying out loud. All
There
right.
was a lot of
That's-
hate for whoever that very white-looking guy was. With
I
the blue
hate that
shirt.
guy.
Because
And
he
you know,
shows people how to hold a microphone properly.
and you know he's singing Dave Matthews while he's holding that mic wrong.
Why do you have a problem with Dave Matthews, Greg?
Because everyone does. He's terrible.
No, everyone does it. He's not terrible, but why do you have an issue with it? Give us a reason why you think it's terrible.
Because in my opinion, he's
Yes.
fucking terrible.
I
You're
gotta
not
say,
giving a reason why it's terrible.
Does that make
though.
it better?
No, it
I don't
doesn't
like
explain
Dave
anything.
Matthews either. You want a
He writes
reason?
shitty
Yeah, well-
songs.
Okay.
And he
What makes them
sucks.
shitty? Why do they suck?
I don't know. They just do.
Smash into you. That's him, right?
Crash into you.
Crash into you. Whatever the hell.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
Smash.
Those are dumb lyrics. And I can't stand his voice. I don't know why he sings like that or what he's trying to do. Like, let me see. That grunge thing was happening for a while. Maybe if I turn the wah-wah pedal on my voice up and try to do Eddie Vedder on ludes and acid at the same time and strum a guitar and talk about look up a skirt and show their world to me. That's a song. Oh, that guy's terrible.
What would you say?
See, that's how you do it, Greg. I mean, Brendan has very specific reasons as to why he doesn't like it, but you had nothing other than you just don't like
I
it.
don't need one. It's just the songs suck.
I don't need one.
And
You
can't
needed
really
one because
quantify.
I asked for one. That's why
Song-
you needed one.
and I said his songs suck. He can't write a good song. So
Okay, fine.
I
All right,
just don't-
it's time for our food segment. Here we go.
Food is for eating. Food is for eating. Food is for eating with Waspy Soda Pop.
Hey there, everybody. It's me, Wasp Soda Pop, with a brand new recipe for you. This is easy. This is simple sugar cookies. It's that time of the year. Everybody loves cookies. Well, right now, you're going to get some simple ones to make. Because, you know, we don't want to make things difficult. So, anyway, for your ingredients, you're going to get 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. You get 1 teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of baking powder, 1 cup of butter, softened. I like that Irish butter because it's got the accent. Then you want to get 1 1/2 cups of sugar. Get yourself a half a cup of sugar ants, 1 platypus egg. Those are hard to find. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And you know, if you can squeeze those from the vanilla nipples, that's probably the best way to get it, but otherwise you can just buy it in the bottle from the grocery store. All right, so first step, you want to preheat your oven to 375 degrees. And for you Canadians out there, convert it however, because no one likes you. Anyway, in a small bowl, you stir together flour, baking soda, baking powder. Set that aside. In a large bowl, because that'll be bigger than the small bowl, you'll have to decide what that actually means to you, because, you know, they're all relative. You got small, you got large, you know, whatever. I don't know, maybe the size of your head. Anyway, you want to cream together the butter and sugar until smooth. You're going to grab your platypus egg and your vanilla extract, beat that in, gradually blend in the dry ingredients. That includes your half a cup of sugar ants. And you can get those pretty much anywhere. They're usually probably crawling on your counter. You roll rounded teaspoonfuls of dough into the balls. Place those onto ungreased cookie sheets. And then for step 3, you bake to 8 to 10 minutes in the preheated oven. Don't you worry about them ants. They're not going to go nowhere. They're going to stay right in there. So you bake it till golden. Let them stand on the cookie sheet 2 minutes before removing to cool on the wire rack. So you get your simple sugar cookies, get a little extra protein, got your platypus egg, makes it all good. This is Waspy Soda Pop, and this is Food is for Eating. Well, there we go. Platypus eggs and sugar ants today.
Sugar ants for protein.
Although I think my favorite part really was the vanilla nipples. I think that's the one I was unfamiliar with the most.
Yeah, I kind of like the sugar ants. And those are those little ones, right? Those little tiny ones. Is that what
Yes,
we're talking about?
the ones that just, they never go away. Once they wind up in your house, they're just there forever.
For
That
whatever reason,
Waspy Soda Pop, he's so crazy.
He's so wacky.
he's a wacky dude.
Uh-oh, now Brendan's frozen.
All those piss ants. Am I?
Well, no,
ants.
you came back. That was good. Piss ants, I think it would be a different recipe. That would be for like lemon cookies.
It would be a different recipe, but those little tiny ants that you get in the kitchen, which I think is what you're referring to.
Yeah.
My mom called them piss ants. I don't know why. Never did.
You know, they're called sugar ants as far as I know, because they do go after things that are sweet, but I think they're
That
also
Waspy Soda Pop is a culinary kook. He's a gastronomical goofball.
Oh, yes? Any more? Any more
No.
alliteration you want to do with cooking terms, Greg?
No, I can't think of any more.
It's like, when I use the gastronomic, I can't do anything else with a G. Gourmet, gourmand. Oh, I can't use those either. Darn it. It's very sad. All right, so back to what's attractive. What could be attractive?
What could be?
Yes. What? There should be a way to like make people who are generally unattractive in life, make them the norm for attractiveness, like the non-symmetrical people, the ones like the elephant man, like make the overly grown skull structure good looking for people, you know, because there's some cultures where if you're overly fat or you're obese, it's considered attractive because it signifies wealth, that you have a lot of money, and so that creates like an attractiveness for some people, is the size of an individual. So something that could cause people that we would consider to be ugly or bad looking to be attractive in some of their culture. I mean, because there are those other cultures where the women have those big plates in their lips, and that's considered like an attractive quality to some men. And there's like a Japanese woman in the geisha culture where they would bind their feet because that was considered attractive.
But that's stuff stupid. That's shitty.
Well, we have gauges now. I mean, and that's mostly a guy thing, isn't it?
No, I think women do it too.
Well, I think women do it too, but I mostly see guys doing it.
What's a gauge again? Is that like when you shove something in your dick?
No, in your
that's
ear.
those big stupid plates in your ear thing.
Those are the most unattractive things, especially when they take them out and they got a big floppy, nasty thing.
Yeah.
I can't believe it, but apparently women found them attractive, or guys would have stopped doing it.
Don't know, or they just do it for the sake of appearance because they like how it looks. They don't necessarily care that.
I think everything guys do is because they want to get laid. So
everything they do is so they go take a leak and it's all about getting laid.
Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel.
Pick their nose to get laid.
He had his eye on a young altar boy. Michelangelo probably did that all to impress some altar boy in the church that he wanted to bang.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you said everything the guy does is designed to get laid.
everything.
Yeah. I
Your
don't think so.
job, your career, you were like, hey, ladies will like this. I'll make some money.
This podcast we're doing, us talking to each other, this is all about us trying to get laid by.
Well, you got a lady. You got a lady, so you're good.
Yeah.
But
Why do you think
this.
I'm still on the show? I'm so trying to leverage this into that. Are you crazy?
You're trying to impress Holly.
No.
So you have more date nights.
No, I'm trying to expand my resume in case.
He's trying to get groupies, is what he's saying.
Yeah, something goes south. I have to have a plan B, is what I'm saying, and I need.
There's going to be a head. I sense a head whack coming any minute. Right now.
I can always say, "Hey, baby, I got a podcast. I'm a podcaster, and I blog. I'm so cool.
I'm self-employed.
I'm self-employed. I work in my underwear."
And I write Star Trek / fiction in my spare time.
Oh yeah.
All about the fan fiction. But I think if we could find a way to cause the Elephant Man to become attractive, I think then we've got it made. We can.
Well, it would be a beautiful world. I mean, that's what makes so much shit about love and romance so shitty. Is like, if literally looks didn't matter. So many women have told me that in my life, and they're full of shit. Because it's like, oh, how come you're always dating good-looking guys? You keep saying this, and yet every guy you date is pretty fucking good-looking. Because
what about blind women and blind men? What do you think they go for? Is the symmetry in their hands?
Yeah, because they touch your face, right, to see how you look, and maybe they're just as shallow as us. They're like, oh, the skin is so smooth. Skin's rough. I'm not gonna date this guy. Fuck
well,
him.
I mean, they're just as human as we are, obviously. So they're gonna have some ugly aspects of their personalities too. So
are they just human, or are they subhuman, man?
Why would you even say that, Greg?
To be controversial.
Oh yes. Oh, just so you guys know, I've added 3 words to our banner on the YouTube. So it's like controversial, irreverent, and intoxicating are like now the 3 words.
Intoxicated, right?
No, not intoxicated, intoxicating. So because you think it would be intoxicated, but no, and intoxicating is over your face. So that's what makes it most appropriate.
They're getting a contact high from listening to me.
That's right. From looking at you.
I feel drunk just listening to Greg.
That's what
you're
does
gonna
it.
catch my slurring.
Well, I've been working with this YouTube marketer guy. He's definitely been effective because we've now gotten like over 2,000 hours of listen time from people out there, based upon from these YouTube ads that we put out.
From 10-year-olds in Cambodia who are chained.
How many subs do we have?
To listen to our podcast.
One new subscriber, and I think it was him. But it's not. We weren't really pushing for subscriptions, though. We're just pushing for hours because we're looking at trying to get the channel monetized. And so to get YouTube monetized, you have to get 4,000 hours of listen time and then 1,000 subscribers. So the first thing is get the hours in, and then working on the
subscribers. And we have 1.
We got one.
More than one, dude.
Well, no, we got 1 over the course of the last couple of weeks. We have a total of 141.
141.
Yeah, so we're like nearly 20% there. So
I only have
14%
3 siblings. How could that be true?
Well, I worked for a while to get that first 100 subscribers because once you get 100 subscribers, you can have a specialized URL for your channel.
Yes.
So I was asking a lot of friends on Facebook to sub, and
are they attractive subscribers?
Some of them are attractive, and I think I may have gotten at least 2 with neurofibromatosis, but I'm not sure. It's possible.
A few uggos.
Yeah, a few with major deformities that I cultivated for this purpose, just so that I could, make them feel like I attracted to them, and they'll just give me money.
I'd like to share something with you guys. I have this character I made a comic strip about. His name's Captain Ugly, and he's a superhero. He's really
Captain Ugly. Does he have a theme song?
My band had a song called Captain Ugly, which was based on the comic strip that I wrote. I would cannibalize my shit all the time. Okay. So he would go around at night and his prey was attractive people, and he had like battery acid and scalpels, and if he saw some pretty people, would like scar their faces and pour acid on their faces, and then he would tell them, "Now you'll be judged by your own merits." And that was the happy ending of every Captain episode.
Isn't that in the Swanknabus?
It is.
Oh, I can't show it to anybody. It's not showing up on the screen. There we go. This is Greg's comic book, everybody, backwards.
I guess that was kind of a commercial for my comic. Subconscious, I didn't need it to.
You're like cannibalizing the book that you gave away for free.
Yeah. But we did have a song called Captain Ugly, and it was one of our hit songs, if you can call any of our songs a hit.
Yeah, how did it go? What's the chorus?
I'm not gonna. I can't.
You know, you've got Brendan like masturbating for some reason.
Okay, I'm Captain
Ugly. That's exactly how I met
night with my battery acid and a stolen scalpel knife. I'm coming to your town. I'm gonna equalize. I'm gonna find the pretty people. Gonna cut them down to size. That was it.
And then you went Tyranny Is Beauty, and after that.
I should have added that.
All right, have we exhausted this client for today? Have we given it enough direction? Have we given it enough attention?
I could go on for weeks about this topic.
But you've had these lulls, so it doesn't seem like you could go on.
I don't think you can, because I don't know what there really is to say. I mean, to be honest, yes, there are, supermodels and famous actresses, and there's that level, but that's not most people. Most people at the grocery store, aren't Margot Robbie or something. There's fucking people at the grocery store. And if you're living your life, you're going to find those people attractive in one way or another. So I don't know.
Yeah, so maybe the client name should be changed to "We all have low standards."
Well, look, I'm one of my working on my motivational speaker gig, and I really think that the problem with most people is that they don't lower their standards enough. And if you just continue to lower your standards, you're going to hit a place where you're happy, which is really all you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
That's my whole life.
I just be dating paramecium at that point.
I'm pretty content. I'm content being a dishwasher.
Then what else do you need? That's what most people are searching for.
What Greg needs is in his mug, is what he needs. He needs.
I do kind of need.
That's what he is most attracted to, is Holocaust whiskey. That is his.
Or I'll get the shakes.
His great love affair.
I don't have the Holocaust whiskey anymore. I have the faux whiskey.
Faux whiskey.
Fake wine. That's 21%.
Oh, you're doing the wine.
It's wine
that has like the odor of whiskey near it, or something like that. It's like wafted across the top of the wine.
It's bizarre how they do it. It's 21% alcohol.
Is it like a malt?
But it's a good change for me. Well, it's wine though. It is grape wine specifically.
So you're turning into a wino.
That's what the bottle says.
So you're going from being whatever you were before to a wino.
So then you've got all those.
There's rummy.
Sulfites or sulfur or whatever it is, and wine, the headache thing. Wine hangovers are the worst.
What's the opposite of a connoisseur, Greg?
A connoisseur?
Yes, what's the opposite of a connoisseur? It's somebody who just will eat anything.
So
a garbage
like
can.
gourmand.
So you are a wine garbage can, is essentially what you are.
Yeah, I used to drink Franzia in the box. The world's most popular one.
Franzia.
It's pretty harsh, man.
But I think there is a word for that, because there's gourmet and gourmand, which I'm definitely a gourmand.
Yes,
so connoisseur.
Garbage can is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what the opposite of connoisseur is. I don't know, just not a snobby asshole.
Yeah, that's it.
Not a pretentious.
It's called a wine. It's called a wino, is what it's called.
Going back to my earlier, part of my shtick here is that, there's studies have shown that people who are connoisseurs and stuff, coffee snobs or food snobs, are some of the most unhappy people by survey around, because they're constantly dissatisfied and versus
Yeah.
somebody who just, somebody's like a wine snob. I mean, how much money and how much effort is it going to make them happy? Whereas, a beer bitch, you get her a 6-pack of Miller Lite or Natty whatever, and she's fine.
Rainier.
That's the kind of Rainier. Those are the kind of people that you need in your life. That's what you need to strive to be. Forget the connoisseur and the snob.
The salt of the earth is what he's saying.
I
It's
hate to
those are
drag
the ones.
Lavana back into this, but Matt, you've told me that Lavana can't stand karaoke because she really knows how to sing and she has perfect pitch. So it's torture for her to hear people like me get up there and sing karaoke and butcher shit.
Well, she
though I
gets
think I'm doing
concerned
pretty
about
good.
the destruction of their vote. She gets concerned about the destruction of their vocal cords because of their
Yeah.
improper singing technique. So she hears people
But I think
actually
she probably also.
she hears them destroying their throats.
Perfect. That's
But
what you
you've
need.
told me that she corrects you when you think you're singing pretty good. She's like, Matt, you're still a little flat on that note. Most people wouldn't even notice, but Lavana's talented enough that she notices. So that could be kind of torturous for her. That could be like everything sounds shitty to her because she knows better. She knows what a perfect song should sound.
Yeah, that and she doesn't.
Why
have
were you
good
doing
taste.
that?
Because you were doing it.
Well, no, I was.
You
I was doing
often
this, I
have
didn't
your
realize it.
fingers close to the camera, so you have gigantic hands. and
Listen to
fingers.
me, Matt Pratchey.
Let me show one more thing right here. Right there is my finger.
I didn't even know I was doing it. That's so weird. I thought I was holding my chin the whole time.
Not the whole time, but
No, I
occasionally,
believe you.
occasionally your hand will come out. And you'll do
No,
this, and it gets larger and larger.
I believe you.
I
It's
want to
weird.
do a whole show where we just
We move ourselves when it's just a hand, and then we
Yeah.
just like talk this way, and it's
No, I
not
think
actually
this-
us talking.
No, I think
It's a
this is going
hand.
to be my new thing. Look, check it out. It's all black
Hello
behind me.
there.
It's just my hand is well lit.
Hello there, everyone.
It looks
My
kinda
name is
lighting like
Mr.
that.
Hand.
You look
Get a
like
good
some
one.
creature that lives 1,000 feet under the surface of the ocean. Like, it's all pale. Some weird fish.
It's 1,000 feet under the surface is veneer, is what it is. Anyway, all right. Well,
Well,
I
this
think
is
we
the-
have exhausted the topic of whatever it was. Tyranny is beauty. Beauty is tyranny.
Tyranny's
Tyrants.
beauty.
Tyrants are beautiful. There's beautiful
Death
tyrants.
to all beautiful tyrants.
Six semper butanus.
Who
Kill
was the
all
most beautiful
supermodels.
tyrant?
What?
Who was the most beautiful tyrant?
Cleopatra. That's my theory.
Was she a tyrant?
Or Catherine the Great.
I think I'm going to go with Catherine the Great. I don't know that Cleopatra was a tyrant technically.
Yeah.
Well,
I think she was just didn't she have a king? She didn't rule Egypt, did she, Cleopatra? Or did she?
she did. She had an affair with Julius Caesar, though.
I know. No,
I
Mark
thought
Antony.
it was
but
Mark Antony.
Both of
but
them.
did she? But there was no king involved. She was the sole queen, like Queen Victoria. Like there was.
Well, she had a sister that I think she had killed or something, so that she could become.
okay.
Yeah. So
Well, that's kind of rotten, but maybe her
Something along
sister
She
those
was a
lines.
tyrant. She enslaved all those people to make pyramids. And shit.
I don't think she
No,
made the
that-
pyramids, Greg.
That was
Didn't the
much
pharaohs do
earlier.
that?
That was a long
But they
time
had-
before.
They had slaves, though. She had a lot of enslaved.
That's like saying Trump built the Great Wall of China. I mean, it's like
What? Is it like saying that? And he did
I'm
it all
just
by
saying-
himself with
I'm
one
just
brick.
saying literally almost the amount of time between Cleopatra and when those fucking pyramids were built is that fucking long.
Greg, do you know where the pyramids are?
what? Well, there's one in Las Vegas. I know.
What?
that. The Luxor.
What?
I
Las
stayed
Vegas?
there. The
No,
Luxor,
I just-
it's a good
I
place. to
just
stay.
literally. Sorry, I
Mhm.
thought that like they kept building pyramids. I didn't know the pyramids stopped. I thought as
Oh
long as
yeah,
Egypt
there's
was in
pyramids
power-
all over the place. There's pyramids in people's cars.
No,
There's
in
pyramids
Egypt.
everywhere in Egypt.
Egypt.
Yes. Yeah, they didn't stop making them. They just made them all over the
I
place.
think
As a
we
matter
should
of fact,
end the
show
all
because
buildings were
now-
pyramids.
I thought they did. I
Matt,
thought some of them crumbled. They
It's
wouldn't
just
see it
getting
anymore.
belligerent. I think the show is over.
That's right. When I started going on a rant on some ridiculous thing that Greg says, it's time to end the
It
show.
wasn't ridiculous. When did the Egyptians
It's,
stop
it's
making
They just
pyramids?
keep making
entertainment
pyramids.
value has gotten the entertainment value has gotten close to zero when it comes to that.
Usually
Yeah.
our entertainment value, according to the analytics on YouTube, goes down at about 11 minutes, and that's when everybody disappears.
Really?
About 11 minutes in, they're like, "See ya." Although we have had a number of that people have lasted all the way. Like for some reason, the bullets, burgers, and ballots one, we have a lot of retention on that episode where people listen to it all the way through. I don't know why, but for some reason
We
that
were
one.
enticing.
Well, we were
Was it-
basically
was it
doing.
political?
That was the one where it was the election was happening. You know, it was the electoral college votes were coming in at that time, so we were doing it kind of in real time. So I think that may be once these ads started running that people went, oh, this is kind of interesting. It's like we created a little historical moment with that particular episode because we were talking about what was going on at the time. You know, so
I just want to say,
I do
that,
not think that is true.
interestingly enough,
that's my theory.
a friend
Yes.
in need, a friend indeed, is one of the top viewed shows.
Yes,
and that
that
was
one
just-
also has a long listener retention on that one too, strangely enough.
And that was just
'Cause
you and
people like
that was
talking
just
about
you and
drugs.
Greg.
That's just great. Yeah, I think it's also the guys choosing particular episodes to advertise. So I guess he liked the goats on that one.
The goats
But-
are fun.
But the fact that people are actually listening all the way through is kind of an interesting point as well. You know, whereas some of them were has a lot of views, they don't necessarily listen all the way through. Some of them are dropping out at 30 seconds, like right after our intro, they're gone. So that'll be a
I
coming
gotta say,
change
guys,
as well.
I listen to a lot of podcasts. I rarely don't listen to the whole thing, so I think that's a bad sign about the quality of our podcast.
Yeah, but that's only if everybody was like you, Greg.
Well, no, I like a
What,
good
what do you mean?
podcast.
I listen to podcasts. I don't generally drop out after 11 minutes of an hour-long podcast.
You say you
Right.
do.
No, he says he's
I
like you.
don't.
He's like
Yeah,
you.
I'm a weirdo
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you,
That's what I
Greg.
was saying. That's what I
Unlike
was
Matt,
saying.
who
I was
doesn't
saying-
listen to podcasts, but
I was
has a
saying I don't drop out
podcast and
either.
is a
I-
podcast expert.
I was saying I don't drop out after 11 minutes ever. I don't drop out after 30 minutes.
Right.
'cause
That's
unless
the
it's
audio
really
portion.
bad.
I'm talking about for video purposes. That's where people drop out because you guys don't watch the video feeds. You listen to the podcast for the audio platform.
Yeah.
So that's the difference.
So
I don't have those analytics.
what about the listening? Oh, the listening, just listening doesn't tell you if people drop off.
Doesn't tell you when they
I-
stop
you know,
listening,
I'm
when they
telling
when they
you,
walk out of
I
it.
mean, if you look at the views on our YouTube channel, it's all just basically pouring out these low talent people from this music guy. You got the Maxim model with number one, then you got the record producer guy number two after your TikTok video, then the rock guy that you guys wanted to have make a album, and then that chick that was so self-absorbed by the pool or wherever she was.
She was your favorite.
Then you and her. Oh, she's my favorite. Then you and Greg. Then I understand this. Then the guy from Jane's Addiction. Then Fedora Jones or whatever the hell that guy's name was.
Fedora
Johnny
Jones.
Two-Tone. And then Arrow. Those are our top like 10 shows. Oh, and then
Who was
and then
the last
after
one? I couldn't
that
hear it.
is
Arrow.
Arrow. And then
Yeah.
after Arrow, in terms of views, is the slightly Asian guy with long hair. I missed that one. I don't know what he was talking
He
about.
wasn't slightly Asian. He was pretty full on Asian.
Was he full on Asian?
Slightly
Nothing
Asian.
slight about his Asianness.
Josh Azali, I believe is no. Actually, the guy from New Jersey, the gay performer, he had a pretty popular episode too, and people would listen to that one almost all the way through as well. So that was a well attended.
Which one?
The one with Ike Avelli.
Which- Oh, the guy was flirting with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Schmear to Queer, that one.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
slightly, but one view more than him is Werewolf guy,
That Mark Morales.
Mark Morales. Yeah.
Well, you know, but you need to give him credit because he went along with you on the incinerator. Like he was.
No,
he was-
I
he was
actually
huge.
of these shows, that's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I mean, Arrow was fantastic. I really disappointed I missed that one. and the very Asian looking guy who did something. I'm not sure what he does.
He was delightful, though. I love that kid.
Yeah,
I wish he was
I'm
my
sure
son.
I'm sure he was sweet.
He's such a.
That's what we do. We interview sweet people. What are we looking for really? We're looking for people that may or may not stick around for the second half of the show. That's basically. It's like,
I'm
are you
just
are
saying-
you good enough to hang? Basically, is what we're looking for.
Okay, I'm just
Yeah.
saying if we really care about these stats,
Uh-huh.
we should probably look at what we're doing.
What are we doing?
That's my question. You brought up the fact that people drop off after 11 minutes or whatever, and I'm just saying, well, if that's what's happening, then I'm kind of with Greg. There must be something we should change about what we're doing. 'cause
Well, there's going to
that's-
be a minor change starting with this particular episode after I edit it, which is we're not going to have the recorded intro till after we do the actual intro of the show. So in other words, it's going to be now when we announce the client and the guest name, and then we'll have the recorded intro and then go into the actual show. That'll be like the new thing because that'll be attractive more to YouTube viewers because that will get them engaged with what the topic will be sooner. Allegedly, according to the marketing guy.
Like
So
werewolves. They'll be like, wow, they're talking about werewolves today. Awesome.
Yeah, well, not only that, the change will be in the title on YouTube too. So as opposed to me having the S3 and client number, blah blah, it'll be the actual client name to start with, and have the S2 and client number at the end because nobody's looking to see about clients. So which isn't necessarily gonna like create some huge wave, but it may add viewers and may cause people to be more interested. And who knows? We'll find out.
I'd like to tie the client all into this discussion and say, apparently we should have more attractive people on our show, like Arrow.
No, well, like Sherry.
Apparently
'cause
there was a very-
she's the most
Exactly,
popular
Sherry,
one.
too.
Yeah.
Sherry's like
But Arrow,
in a different category of things.
Sherry's been number one all along, ever since her episode.
wow.
She's Canadian.
Why do we have her back? We gotta call her back.
She would probably come on in a heartbeat.
I'm sure she would.
Well, let's do it.
I believe next week we do have a Canadian singer coming on. So
Oh, right. So
Wow.
what, like
Celine Dion.
Celine Dion?
no, this is a woman though who
Brian
has
Adams?
been nominated for like 3 or 4 Juno awards. So
a
there's that.
Juno.
Well, that's like the Canadian Grammy. So
Oh, wow. That's
Wow.
like
So
the
it's-
Canadian Super Bowl.
That's like the
isn't it?
Lithuanian Shkluplum. It's like the
woman next
Estonian
week who's going to be
Yakalo.
on our show. Yes, we're shitting all over whatever credibility you have before you come
just
on.
shit-
I just want to make
Watch
sure that
soda pop.
the publicist has set his clock back so he knows what time it is in the world.
Well, it's a
And
she.
I really need an update on the immediately suddenly flooded apartment. And I'll give you both
Yeah.
$10 if he shows up in February.
Well, he said he would definitely be showing up in February because it was his suggestion.
Can you call him right now live and say, how's the flooding going? Are you
I
okay?
don't have his
What's going on?
phone. I don't have his
we
phone
need a
number.
flooding update.
But we'll definitely
where-
address that next time around. This will at least give us all time to listen to all of his songs on his album by then.
I can't
Unless-
wait. I listened to 2 of them.
It was.
You listen to 2?
I did.
I listened
Due
to half.
diligence.
I listened to half
I
the
listened to
album
one.
actually.
I listened
half
to
of it,
the interlude.
I listened to half
one.
of one song.
No, I listened to interlude, which was
which is
short.
like a minute long. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I listened to whatever the
Yeah.
next one that Spotify served up. Something about a shopping cart, I think.
Yeah.
I was surprised that
whatever.
he's on the work tour.
Ooh, you said
Van,
she.
it was Van's
No,
work
I
tour.
didn't. I said something else. No,
Mhm.
but he's on the work tour. And
Yeah.
see, I thought the work tour was all like punk and shit. And it was
Well,
like, that was not punk at all.
Well, I listened to a number of things that the kid had put out over the last few years, and he's got like some punk sounding stuff as well as like
Oh.
other different sounding stuff. So it's like
I think
I always think of it like a cross between like Blink 182 and like My Chemical Romance, but also with like Drake and Justin Bieber thrown in there too. So
what
like
the
this
fuck
weird.
are you talking about?
I'm
dude?
saying these are all elements that I heard in his music. So
I'm gonna have to listen to some other music because I didn't hear any of those bands.
not in
anything I
that
heard.
most current album. Most current one's
Yeah.
more like a Drake Bieber thing, but and maybe a little 21 Pilots as well for the new stuff. But the later stuff,
My Chemical Romance, and who was the other one you said?
Blink 182.
Blink 182.
Yeah,
But that's
very
like his more earlier stuff. So
very similar. Very
yeah,
similar
not that he's that
bands.
old. I mean, it would have been like in the last 5 or 6 years. But at the very least, the kid's been performing for like 6 years and he's toured the country. So I got to give him a little bit of credit, at least a tiny bit. So anyway, we're still recording the show, everyone.
That's the only
in case
credit you're going to give him, a tiny bit.
We're gonna give him credit.
Well, he does have at least one song that's had over nearly 2 million views on YouTube. So he definitely gets credit for
I
that.
think it's fantastic.
Yeah, so-
You know, it's great.
And
I just
he
don't
won
know.
the. He
There's a lot of
Sorry.
interview shows on podcasts, and if you listen to podcasts, you know like 90% of them are interview shows. So we're not breaking any new ground here. And then the people we have are all over the place, so we're not really breaking any ground there either.
Wait, well,
That's all I'm saying.
how would we break ground? We're already doing stuff that's groundbreaking, Brendan. How can you say that we're not breaking new ground? We're totally breaking new ground every single
annoying the
show.
guests.
Okay.
We're the one.
You're
We
right.
do annoy the
Every-
guests more than any
Our
other
format is
podcast.
much different from other interview shows, Brendan. You know that. I mean, how can you say it's I
Really?
mean, seriously, it's the way we do things is definitely different.
Well, Matt wouldn't even know because he doesn't listen to podcasts. But
I was gonna
most
say
people just
this is based on his.
That's how
survey
I know
of-
it's different because I don't listen to any other ones.
It's based on his survey of nothing.
Survey of one.
no. But I hear podcasts, and they do just interview them very straight and like very boring and typical. They don't make them sit for half an hour and talk about werewolves. So give us that. We do have that to our credit.
So then why don't we lead with that? Why don't we just skip the whole shit about what's your record deal and how what growing up in Canada, what was that like? Who gives a
Yeah.
shit? Let's go. Hey, you've got a record. Here's your 3-minute pitch. Good. Now we're gonna talk about werewolves. That would be different. I would agree with that. But
That's
no
a good
one's even
suggestion.
no one's even getting to the werewolf part because they're dropping out at 15 minutes. That's what I'm saying. They're halfway into Arrow talking about how she's never seen The Godfather, and they're like, whatever.
Well, I'll know better once we have this next round of ads going through in terms of what people are listening to and where they do drop off. Because, like I said, there are a number of episodes where they do listen the whole way through. So you're selling yourself too short.
I'd
there,
be
Brendan.
interested. I never sell myself short because I'm not. But I'd be interested to know
Are you talking
which
about your dick
shows.
right now?
Huh?
Are you talking
know
about
that.
your dick right now? Was that
No,
a-
I'm not actually doing that.
Oh, I'm
I'm
not
just
selling
saying,
myself
I'd be
short.
interested. I think we should take this money that you're spending
Yes.
seriously and consider if there are shows that they're listening all the way through, we should consider what makes that show unique. And
Well,
if
we
they're-
are
and if
coming
these
up to
they're
the
not,
end. We are coming up to the end of our 3rd season by the end of December. So we can certainly take all of these new ideas and determine if we want to do like a format shift again at that
Does it
stage.
have to be at the end of the 3rd season? Is it?
No, it could be at the beginning of the 4th season.
or it could be now.
Yeah, I would rather have things that are basically the same within a structure stay that way, and then we shift that
Greg,
the next time
Greg,
around.
we have to have continuity for our
interesting.
listeners.
Yeah,
You
some form of
radical
continuity.
bastard. The 10 people
Yeah,
that
that's-
listen to us couldn't deal with a sudden change.
We
within a
have
season.
What?
3
I thought
billion.
this was the 3rd season.
You're not allowed to say 10 people. Remember, Brendan? You don't like it when I say stuff with low numbers like that. So 3 billion.
Because it's dumb.
Matt, I'm only giving you shit because I have a lot of OCD, retentive things, but that's pretty weird. Like we have to wait to the next season to do any.
It's not that we
format change.
have to wait. It's just that it gives a lot more data that we can work with by that. That is all. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Obviously, we could change things
Data?
at any time that we want. You know, we could just
Have you been mining data?
we could just talk in like animal noises if we wanted the entire episode. We can do whatever we want, Greg. We could just grunt at each other if we chose. We could just keep we could put
Even
our
before
fingers,
the third season
we could keep
starts?
our fingers on our noses the entire episode and never move them from that spot. We could do whatever we want at this, like right now. You
I
could do
could
it
go
right
like this the
now.
whole episode?
You could do that.
I could go
You
like
could
this the
make
whole
that.
episode?
You could just have like fingers flying in front of your face as much as you want. Certainly, all of those things could happen immediately, or we can just wait. So, which I'm okay with.
Okay.
Because I'm like, you got to kind of give things time to figure out what's working, what's not working. I mean, we know what doesn't work for Brendan, so that's good. That is information that has been, it's assimilated. It will be addressed.
Well, they don't work with me either. I've told you this many times.
Right, and we did a format change. So again, it's testing things out. What's the big rush?
Suggestion is good.
I'm just trying to figure out what the big rush is. Why we can't wait for more information to come in.
Because I want to be rich sooner, and I know as soon as we do this format change, we'll be millionaires.
Well, if you want to be
Joe
rich
Rogan.
sooner, you need to be on top of more things. That's what's got to happen, Greg. You got to take a lot more responsibilities. So, because only you can figure out what will make us more money. What was that, Brendan?
It isn't about the money.
Only you can prevent.
It isn't about the money for me.
Sorry.
It isn't about the money for me. It's about having a good time, because that is literally the only reason I do this. Otherwise, I wouldn't.
Exactly.
And then secondly, after having a good time, I'd like to feel like we have a growing listenership. And if it's not, then what the hell? Then literally, who gives a shit? And
Well,
we just get on here and
who
talk
said we
about
don't
what
have a
the
growing?
hell-
I never said we didn't have a growing listenership.
So how many people? I'm looking at the listeners right. I'm looking at like YouTube, but I don't know.
Well, like I said, we literally have just now gotten 2,000 hours of listening. That's happened. That's incredibly huge. 2 weeks ago, we had 300 hours of listenership.
How much money did you spend in advertising?
That's beside the point.
Okay.
That's not something that has to be talked about on the podcast. So,
Fair enough. I'm just saying, it's not like we did some sort of groundbreaking interview that just shot the numbers
no,
up. We
but
started
it also
advertising.
comes down to getting us in front of people, and that's what's changing. Is we're getting ourselves in front of more people, and that's what seems to be growing. Is that people are actually listening to more of it, allegedly. As far as I can tell based upon the analytics that I'm getting through YouTube. So that's why things are not stagnant at this moment, So I get you guys' point. I totally do. I know how you feel about the guests. I know that. But at the same time,
Arrow.
I even like somebody like Arrow.
It's not all
I
the
like-
guests.
Yeah. Well, I like them all.
That's
I
the
actually like
problem.
every single
But
person we talk to.
I got it.
What?
I don't dislike them. That's not the point.
Uh-huh.
Some are more entertaining than others.
That will
Like
always be the
guy
case.
With the clown hotel, the guy with the clown hotel was entertaining. We should be able to know that Arrow is not going to be that entertaining.
But we wouldn't
I
know
think we
until we
all-
actually
I
talked
think-
to her.
Oh, come on.
What? She was a last minute replacement, is what she was. at the
Okay,
time.
so maybe I'm being unfair to her. Let's talk about somebody else. I don't know. I'm just saying there's a certain amount of like, oh, yeah, that's probably not going to be entertaining.
I just have this horrible image in my mind that Arrow liked our show and listens to it every week. And how many times we brought her up in a negative light.
She's a masochist. She loves it. She's like, oh, they're talking bad about me.
I have
Those
not
old
spoken
men.
bad about that girl at all. I've left that
I
up to
have.
other people. Yes.
I
I
know.
have.
And he
only
wasn't
judged-
even on the show
I
with her to
haven't
badmouth
really.
her.
Nope, I wasn't.
But
He heard it,
Shanty
though.
Pants has, based upon Brendan's perspective. So anyway,
Oh, God! Now we're gonna. Everything is my fault because I've influenced everyone. Okay. Shanty
you-
couldn't have had his.
if you
he
want to
had
have
his own-
if you want to have that much responsibility, Brendan, you can go ahead
He
and have
couldn't
that.
have had
much.
his own opinion because he's a human being. He was obviously like I did some Svengali thing to convince him that the chick that had never seen The Godfather was really not an actress.
Yeah, but see, the thing is that if we hadn't talked to her, we wouldn't know that there are people like that out there. So
I
it
could bring on
becomes that
some-
much
I
more
could-
entertaining.
I could bring
What?
on some homeless crackheads from Crest Lake Park. And we can
I
talk
got to
to
tell
them.
you, if you're willing to bring him into your house, I'm willing to talk to him.
All right.
That would be some pretty fun shit.
As I've
probably.
told both of you guys, it's okay to book people you want to talk to. Just let me
Well,
know and we'll put
well,
them on the
try.
schedule.
I don't want to talk to those people. That's my point.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying though is that if there are people you want to talk to,
No,
we
I
can
know.
book that.
I don't want to talk to anybody.
You just want to talk to Greg and I.
Well, maybe if that. I mean, if,
Yeah.
if
And
I
that's
could be-
questionable.
if I could be convinced that talking to somebody else would, we've got. All I have is I've got survey data of one,
Uh,
and that person who likes our show said, "I like the old thing." That's all I got.
who said that?
The guys at the happy hours, I can't believe I
They
have
they
to
said
explain.
they appreciated both ways. They like
No,
both.
they didn't.
Yeah,
No,
they
they
I
did.
don't think
They
they,
did.
ever
They
said
abs-
that. No,
No,
They
they didn't.
absolutely,
No,
they absolutely
no,
did because I
no,
asked them. I asked
no.
them point blank.
They were being nice to you. They weren't.
Yeah.
You didn't listen to the episode, so
I listened to them. I heard
They
the
did not
words
say
that came
that.
out of their mouths.
I don't
Fine.
think they said
Go
that.
listen back to it. Prove me wrong. I don't give a shit. Anyway, regardless,
Well,
hello
they're being
everybody.
polite.
This is an episode that's gone on a half an hour way too long when we could have been
And
talking
you've been
about this
listening to
off
our
the air.
private Meeting.
That's
You've
right.
been listening to our
Well, you
private
can't-
meeting.
you-
This is
can't-
beauty. This is Matt is a tyrant. Is what this is right now.
you can always
Yes.
edit this out, Matt. I mean, it's not that
I
hard.
could, but I generally leave the warts in unless it's like really hard on the ears, so that people
No,
can
I
understand.
think we should keep this in. I think people want to hear this shit. The inner
Well,
workings.
obviously, no one is
How
going to
the
hear it
sausage
because
is
they
made.
drop out after 12 minutes.
That would somebody's got selective hearing. Anyway, this has been another episode, if you couldn't tell, of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker.
Your consultation with the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker has ended. You may pay your retainer at www.qsblaw.org. Please exit to the right of the water cooler and grab a candy from the front desk. We hope to see you again soon, but you need to leave now. I said leave. Why don't they ever listen? Get out! Get out!